Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great time. Of course, it's time for our update, the August 2015 update. Sorry for the quick fade. I wanted to get as much of that song in there as I could before I hit 30 seconds, and YouTube gets mad at me. So, One Slip, Pink Floyd, love it, off Momentary Lapse of Reason. A very, very good song, great album, great band. You know, let's just go ahead and cover it all. The business, of course, this channel is Dan Radio Style. Please feel free to subscribe. And, if you like it, please share with other people. Definitely been doing, I think this is like my sixth one, minus last month, which was really, really late. And I just, again, had a hard time with last month. It was just a weird month. But whatever, you can listen to July and see how I stumble my way through it. It was fantastic. Also, if you'd like to get in touch with me, please do so at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. And I would be happy to answer any questions, maybe do future shows, any of that kind of stuff. All right. August, right off the bat, I kind of want to cover one super duper important thing, and I think this is going to come into play really for the rest of the year. Kind of like I said last month, I think we had sort of a pause for the cause, if you will. We had a moment where we kind of got a chance to take our breath. It's been crazy up to the first 6 months of the year. July was kind of a nice little mix, little pause, like I said, and then I think it's really going to start ramping back up for us, and I don't think it's going to be immediate. I think it's going to ramp. I think we're going to see a progression forward. So I want to kind of share with people a really important thing that most people learn when they get into meditation, yoga, any number of practices, martial arts even. It's the sacred breath. And they call it sacred because it's a very, very powerful tool, and it's stupid simple, all right? And I'm going to be honest with you. It's completely simple, and it's the easiest way to really deal with when life gets out of question. A lot of people have said, count to 10, and by the time you get down to 10, you should feel better. Okay, that works too. This is kind of similar, except this actually just feels better, so it's really hard not to. So the sacred breath is you breathe in the nose, good, nice, full breath, hold it for a second or so, and then you just slowly exhale out the mouth. So in the nose, pause, out the mouth. So we'll do one example here. We'll breathe in the nose, hold it, and breathe out. Do that 2 or 3 times. Anytime a situation gets difficult, if you find yourself being stressed, if you're just in a situation where you're not really sure what's going on, you're feeling a little perplexed, really that sacred breath is amazing, and you will feel the difference. Do 2 or 3 of those, and you will feel the difference. Let's do one more, just kind of for the month of August. All right. So this is something that we're going to need to use going forward. That's why I'm starting with it. This is going to give us power over difficult situations. And really kind of ironically, in my opinion, or at least the way it feels to me, one of the things that I think we're really going to feel this month is the concept of hurry up and wait. I think a lot of us are going to be in a hurry to get to the next step, the next phase of whatever it is we're going after. It could be your career, it could be love life, could be something with your kids, the fact that they're going to be heading back off to school soon, whatever the case is, whatever vacation that's maybe coming up, whatever your desires are, it might seem like it's a little further off than you really care to wait for. So hurry up and wait. That's what we're doing. Everybody can kind of feel these things coming. This energy is starting to come through to us. Really, to start with it, I think the best way to look at it is the Kundalini energy is really becoming more present in all of us. It is a lower chakra energy. It's really, I think, kind of an energy that really stems from aligning all the chakras. But it's typically associated with the root chakra, the base chakra, your chakra in your coccyx, which is such a fun word to say. Love the word. But these energies are starting to come to the surface. For those of us that have never experienced them, you're going to start to have, maybe lucid dreams. You might have moments of just absolute clarity. You might get goosebumps like you can't imagine just after something wonderful happened. You might have some sort of amazingly touching situation with a child, with your loved ones, whatever the case may be, that just touches you on a soul level where you feel it. You feel it deep inside. That is kind of that Kundalini concept. That's that energy that's percolating up. So these base chakras, these energy centers, are going to be continuing to move up. This is a big part of our planetary evolution, certainly our personal evolution. And as I've said in other shows, each one of us plays our part in the bigger picture. So as we raise our individual energies, we're helping raise the energy of the planet as a whole. So that is how we can make one of the largest differences in this planet right now, is by raising our energies, by cleaning up, really, is one of the things. And I kind of talked about this also last July, and I think a lot of this stuff was kind of like end of the month, into August, and I think September, we'll probably see a hair of it still lingering into September, but I think I see things starting to change even more in September. I think it's going to become actually a very exciting end of the year, and I think we've got some surprises ahead of us, and I think it's still too far off for me even to begin to speculate in what area they're going to be, but there's definitely, it's definitely going to be an interesting year. So a lot of us are still cleaning up, clearing out, making room for new and different energies. And I want to say better. Better is kind of a bad spiritual term. Bad's another one example, but it's that the opposites of things, the good and bad, left and right, up and down. There's not really such a thing, if you will, but it works for conversations, for communications, and for also, I'm using better in the sense of the older energies, the more dense energies, the almost metallic energies, I've heard it described as, which I really liked, because that's a concept of very heavy, like the heavy metals in our bodies, which are not real healthy. We're like shedding a lot of these heavier parts of ourselves to make room for this new, lighter, sort of lightweight version of ourselves. So we're going to be cleaning up things. We're going to be clearing out things. You're going to find desires to be cleaning out under your beds, cleaning the garages, cleaning out your cars, whatever it is, where your offices. There's a lot of places, and all of these things, ironically, metaphorically even, represent aspects of who you are. Your bedroom could be your inner sanctimony, your inner privacy, your inner being. Your work office, maybe your outward-facing part of yourself, right? Your car could kind of be like similar as to your own little private thing. It depends if you've got a home or if you're actually living with your parents or whatever. Certain things kind of mean slightly different things. Like if you're living at home with your parents, your room is your whole world. So cleaning up your room is a big part of you making a difference in your energy, your life, and all that. So we're going to be doing a lot of that kind of cleaning up. And some of us are going to be slightly ahead of others in this process. Again, that's kind of why I see this dragging on past July, past August, and into September, maybe longer, but probably roughly about a couple months solid in there. Some of us are going to be doing this. Some of us already started it last month. Some of us are really going strong right now. Some of us are going to be kicking off maybe in a couple, 2-3 weeks. We're going to really start to ramp up and just start feeling these energies and these desires to clean up aspects of our lives. Maybe it's even getting into a good workout routine, or you start walking more, or I just want to shed 7 pounds. I'm going to get rid of 7 pounds, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to maybe cut back on one meal, or I'm going to maybe stop drinking wine or something. Whatever the case is, we're going to try to make differences in our own lives, and we're going to feel it. It's going to be a very profound, strong feeling, and it's going to push us forward. It's going to be driving this whole thing. Also, there's this sense of fire, I guess. Fire in the sense it's an energy, and we're going to be feeling it. And it's really going to be burning through some of these energy blockages we have. And this is going to be, I think, part of the interesting part of this whole month, or the challenging part, really, even. Well, the hurry up and wait's challenging for me, so that's there's that. But the fire part's going to help burn through blockages. The problem is the blockages, the way they tend to present themselves. They tend to present themselves in situations that might be frustrating or might cause anger. Situations that might cause you to break out of your normal happy-go-lucky, humdrum, whatever your normal experience of life is. It's going to cause that to be challenged. This is good. We need to remember when this happens, this is super duper important for us, one, to kind of absorb this energy and let it go. by reacting to it or essentially getting angry at whoever's helping us see this. Because again, remember, I've talked about this in other shows. If someone says something to you that's angry, it's for you. It was meant for you. This is happening to you, for you. It's not them. It's not their fault. It's your chance to clear this karma, possibly. It's your chance to process in what they're saying. Maybe take the small parts of it that are true, and then discard the rest. And really, how often do you get angry at something that someone says to you that has absolutely no truth? Usually, it's because there's a piece of truth in there. And that's that like piece of sand in our eye. That's the part that drives us insane. It's like, how do you know that, right? That anger, that energy, if it bubbles up, it bubbles up. But this is what we're trying to help. This is where the sacred breath's going to come in play, right? When this stuff happens, take that deep breath. Give it a second. If you find yourself getting angry and reacting, calm yourself for a moment. Realize this is just a passing thing. Let the energy go through you and let go of it. This is actually clearing the blockage. That is how that works. It's releasing karma. Karma is kind of the blockage, right? It's maybe a past deed done poorly or something you did to someone, even in other lives for that matter, that we need to clear now in this life to balance out the big picture, right? Because we're a lot more complex than we realize. Our souls are multidimensional. They're in multiple lifetimes simultaneously. A lot of crazy stuff going on. And certainly past, present, and future is a very, very strange concept in and of itself. Past isn't really yesterday as much as it's happening right now. And I experienced it what seems like yesterday, but really, truly, it's kind of all happening right now. Again, it's vastly confusing and complex, but this is a big part of why a lot of these energies have to balance out and why we have to make sure when they do come up, we don't create additional karma. We don't create additional issues in our worlds. Another thing I think we're going to start to notice that's really beautiful is the concept of being selfish, and it has a horrible connotation to it. So we're gonna talk about that right off the bat. Selfish has this really bad, like if you're being selfish, you're not really out helping other people. And I actually want to get us to spin our look at that a little differently. Being selfish. And I don't mean like taking something that belongs to someone else, or I don't mean like, jerk selfish. I mean selfish in the sense of I'm focused on me. I'm focused on my well-being. I'm focused on bettering my life. I'm focused on how can I improve myself? Not how can I screw over my neighbor? That's different. That's just being a jerk. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making differences in our own lives. So by being selfish, by working on ourselves, we actually become more capable of helping other people. It's kind of that concept of like saving a drowning victim. You've got to be able to essentially hold on to the side or something, because if you go out and just to open water that's deep and try to save a drowning victim, 9 times out of 10, they're pushing you underwater just to keep themselves afloat. And ultimately, that will cause you to drown. If you're not in a position where you're capable to help that drowning victim, you shouldn't jump in the water. As much as we want to, 2 dead people is definitely worse than 1 dead person, right? Sometimes, like in an airplane, I've used this example before. When the oxygen masks come down, if we lose cabin pressure, right, which I have, knock on wood, I've yet to experience and pray I don't, right? But when those masks come down, you've got a limited amount of time before you're essentially going to pass out because there's not enough oxygen. That's why they popped out. You put yours on first, and then you go and put someone else's on. Because if someone passes out, that's fine. They're not dying. They're not dead yet by any means, right? They just passed out. Not enough oxygen. They've probably still got a solid 30, 40 seconds before anything serious can even begin to happen. So you get your mask put on, then you help those that need assistance. You got a child, you help your child after you get your own mask on. You've got an elderly relative with you. You help them after you get your own mask on. If you don't put your mask on first and put theirs on, okay, they might be okay. They might still not be conscious, but you're likely going to die. Once you pass out and there's no one to put that mask on for you, you're done. This is kind of where we're at right now in our spiritual lives. We are growing, and sometimes we're growing in paces that are much faster or different even. Could be slower. I could be talking to the person right now, or maybe it's your wife, right? Maybe Maybe your wife right now is just like, 8 levels ahead of you and is egging you to catch up and do something, and you're like, and you're just resistant. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you're the one that's leading the pack. You've gotten all into the spiritual stuff, and your other partner is just kind of dragging behind. We need to stay strong in our movement forward. We might be a small few steps ahead of those that are close to us, but that doesn't mean they're not going to catch up. A lot of times they just need to look at someone and go, you're my example. I see it's working for you. Or how come you're always in such a good mood? Or they'll ask you, like, why don't you eat a bunch of junk food? Or why do you always take walks, every day? Or why, they're going to ask you something that you're doing in your life that's making a difference for you. And they're going to ask you about it. Or they're going to ask you how you always seem to maintain such a wonderful demeanor. Be that example. Be selfish to the extreme that you can be the example. Certainly go out of your way to help people whenever you can. So not, again, the right kind of selfish. But work on yourself. Work on who you are. You are the most powerful individual in your life. And you can make the biggest difference in your world. The world you experience is controlled by you. Okay, what President Obama's doing in the White House honestly has very little to do with you and your world. Your world is controlled by you. Your attitude, the things you talk about, the things you read, the things you look at, the energies that you embrace during the day is completely you. How you choose to react to things that may be on the news or maybe on the radio or maybe something the president said or some politician or some horrible thing that happened in a country 10,000 miles away from here. Whatever it is that you're focusing your energies on, this is a time for us to really start to think about focusing our energies in more positive directions. I've done a bunch of videos on law of attraction and those kinds of concepts. Our thoughts have major power. These are things that people truly are starting to come to terms with. The Kundalini thing is kind of in line with that too. We've got all these energies at work right now that are really bringing about some major changes in our personal lives. August, we're going to see this ramping up in a significant factor. And certainly kids are going back to school. Like the end of the month, there's going to be, I think, this kind of weird vibe going anyway at the end of the month where, kids are going back to school. So there's going to be this odd, like they're bummed. So we got this kind of odd energy from all the children or youth in our lives. And then I think you've got some parents that are going to be bummed that their kids aren't around more. And then I think you've got a bunch of parents that are going to be just stoked that their kids are now back at school and are kind of, at least they know where they're at, that kind of thing. So a lot going on this month. I think it's going to be a great month, all in all. I do think we're going to have some challenges. Remember, sacred breath, in the nose, pause, out the mouth. Do it a few times. Try it out the next time you feel frustrated. It sounds stupid, but you will immediately feel the difference. You will feel it. And then you can go, okay, he's not crazy. I mean, I might be, but in that particular case, no. Dan Radio Style, I hope everybody out there has a wonderful month of August. We'll keep doing the updates. I'm not really sure what next show I'm going to do, but I'd like to shoot something out there at some point here. So maybe in a week or two, I'll throw something out there. Something will catch my attention that I think will be worth doing a show on. I don't know. We'll see. But Dan Radio Style, please feel free to contact me at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. Have a wonderful August, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.